Yo, what up, YouTube? What up? This is Field Trip 8 on the St. Nouan podcast, and I want to talk about Oddvocados. All right, I think avocados is a very interesting detail in this country of the United States. Okay, whenever you go to the grocery checkout stand, considering like how spoiled we are, like there is an aptitude of privilege even for somebody who earns, let's say, a $15 per hour wage, that when you go into a supermarket or a grocery store, you have so many items and selections that you could pick from. I mean, take for instance, if you want potato chips, or you go to your produce section, you know, you got carrots and different styles of carrots and different brands of carrots and lettuce and celery and the whole nine. And I'm just saying, for a supermarket or a grocery store to keep all those items fresh and up to date, you know, to specification for you know, human consumption, that when you walk in the store and you go to purchase these things, I mean, it looks beautiful. You know, all the fruits and vegetables, like it's on a platter for you. Like it's incredible service. It's something that you have in the United States. Granted, we are privileged, but at a basic standard of living, you have all of these options on a platter. If you don't like one style or name brand of something, you could get a different style or a different name brand of the same item. You know, pertaining to, you know, maybe how much you want to spend. You know, you have options available to you. It's incredible. And the grocery store stays stocked and it stays full. And considering distribution and everything like that, the 3.5 million truckers, how hard they work, those 70-hour weeks, 50 to 70-hour weeks, you know, these guys are working their butt off to keep the country running. Now think about this. Considering your typical employee at anywhere, Mark, right? How many people, and maybe I'll have to look into this, how many people on average call in sick? You know, considering if you hire, you know, employees that are under, you know, the age of 18, okay, even 18-year-olds, they got sports, they got school, you know, they got friends they want to hang out with and what have you. And work, I mean, work at that point in life is just not that high up on the totem pole. You know, they call in sick, things happen, plans come in the way. You know what I'm saying? Can these truckers do the same thing as these individuals? Or let's say they're in the middle of the route and let's say, man, for some reason, I'm not feeling so well. You know what I'm saying? They still have to finish that route. They still have to do their job. What happens if they're as wayward and lackluster as, let's say, keep in mind, even though we depend on technology, hey man, like, you know, if truckers had the same attitude as, you know, people coming into a working age, 15 years old, 16 years old, even into like your early 20s, if they had the same mentality towards work, literally the country would fail. The country would fail. We would waste tons of money and we wouldn't have our products, especially not on time, because we know it's a timely basis thing as well. It's got to be a very tight market in sense of getting from point A to point B. And these guarantees are intricate because when you start calculating in traffic and all of these other things, how people drive, you know what I'm saying, the long hours, like it's insane. They're literally, if you think about it, your average trucker is like halfway, if not a superhero already, right? Because these type of jobs pertain to like guarantees. You ever order something from like eBay or Amazon, and maybe there was a slight delay, and when it was expected to arrive to your house on that specific date, you start losing your shit if you don't get your stuff that day. If you don't get your product on that day, you start losing it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, when you get into things such as ice cream and produce, you know, these perishable items and goods that are coming from different countries and all across the world and different places in the United States, and for it to arrive at your local supermarket, you know what I'm saying, on time, for you to just have a multitudinous amount of options of different styles and name brands of even produce. That's incredible. My point, which really I don't have, it's not too big of a point, but I'm pointing out here a mystery. It's a blessing that you have all of these things. Think about it. Back in the day, people had you know what I'm saying? It was difficult. You know, they didn't know how they were going to come across things. They had to grow it themselves. You know, different people had a network or work together, I suppose. I don't even know how they did it. To now you just have everything on a platter for you available. You know what I'm saying? And for all of that, take for instance, if you cross-reference that with like, let's say musicians, you know what I'm saying? Musicians, somebody has a band, for all those band players to come together, get along enough to be able to tolerate each other, have a chemistry, not only in their personality, but their style and how they play, to make one song with the lyrics and everything, and the producer that mixes it down and masters the record and everything like that. It's kind of like that when you go to your supermarket and you have all those employees and you have those truckers that get there at a specific time, and all of that product comes together in a centralized place, with a lot of it being perishable, right? That generally you could walk into a grocery store or a supermarket with confidence that you could buy good product without getting sick. You know what I'm saying? For a specified range in time, that anytime you go in there, the product that's available to you is always good product. Hey man, America, give yourself a pat on the back. That's hard work. It's exceedingly mysterious. Exceedingly. How is that possible? Isn't that weird? We have wonders of the world and everything else like that, but just our regular, like, you know what I'm saying, our so-called regular working labor force and our economy, for you to have those things. Boards put in place, labor boards, and probably some type of food board. I gotta research that. Who's in control of buying all the produce for the United States of America? I mean, this individual, they gotta be good with numbers. They gotta be good with, really good with numbers. Okay? They have to really know that perishable item really well. They have to know the product. They have to establish trust between their vendors. A lot comes together for you to take something for granted. And it's incredible, the things that I just look at, which would seem like simple, rudimentary things, you know what I'm saying? Mundane things even, that we just take for granted. You know what I'm saying? Down to a basis where at the end of every week or 2 weeks or month, or how often you get paid, you do your part, you take your check home, and you're blessed. Not bad for sure. For sure, that's not bad. Good job, America. Yeah, pat on the back. Let me tell you something. Gotta be some mysteries involved in this thing, though. Because one thing that I understand, just in understanding myself, there is a certain aptitude in which I understand humans and I understand guarantees, and the two do not mix too well. Okay? For you to go into a store at a specified time and have all of these options. So what I'm doing here with avocados is I just want to take one product, one perishable good that when you go into the store, and I want you to think to yourself, how often do you buy avocados and how often are avocados readily available for you to purchase at any given time? Just in case, right? You smoke some reefer or something, you say, man, it'd be really good to have some damn chips and fucking, sorry for cussing, should have some chips and some guacamole. Half baked or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You can walk down to a little limb trip and pick you up a little avocado or something like that, right? And have some guacamole. Everything you need, you can have everything you need. You can enjoy that day in the sunshine. Now, if anything is wrong, and this is something that, hey, I'm trying to be conscious of and work with myself, if there is anything wrong, oh, we throw up our arms, don't we? We have a fit, right? Imagine the particulars of finding something particular and specific that is wrong. To be able to pinpoint it where that thing that is wrong or that you're dissatisfied with is so exceedingly loud over all the things that's going right. How spoiled are we in comparison to maybe somebody who was living back in the 1800s? All right. We say, well, that's the 1800s. It's 2020 something now. But if you think about it, man, in truth, you're talking about what, 2 centuries? You could have been born at a different time. You could have totally been born at a different time. And this, if you took somebody from that, date and time, and you put them into this world, man, their mind is they're gonna be like, what the heck is going on here? This is how many of these do you have? This is the best thing ever. Would they be excited to get a job and have a job? They'd be excited. Yeah, I'll get a job. Yeah, I'll get a job and get some of this and get some of that, and you know what I'm saying? My point is, you could have a Sunday afternoon, get some, tortilla chips of your style, of your brand. Get some avocados, some salsa or rotel or whatever you put in there with some spices. And you can sit on a hill and look over a beautiful day and enjoy chips and guacamole that you didn't have to harvest a single avocado for, not a single tomato. You didn't go have to find the spices. You didn't have to, quote unquote, make do. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything was there for you on a platter. That's incredible. Okay? That's exceedingly incredible. That's gotta be one of the most incredible things, you know what I'm saying, to ever be witnessed. This is a miraculous day in time. How asleep and dead are we not to recognize these things? And even now, I'm fighting against certain things like getting bored. What? Bill Burr has a segment on this, but it's true. How? How is that even possible? How lofty am I in my humility? Exceedingly lofty. exceedingly spoiled. I have no idea what hardship is like. As wild as I am, I couldn't be more domestic. I can't really go out into the woods and, what do you say, forage or bushcraft or whatever the word is. I can't go out there and I don't know how to, you know what I'm saying, chop some logs up, you know what I'm saying. I would definitely try, right? Considering the world being a wilderness, we wouldn't know how to survive without many, not just a little bit, many accommodations. Okay? So today I'm saying, out of the entire grocery store, I asked you in one of the field trips, how many single products do you think Walmart sells? Now I'm saying, let's take one of these products. And let's see how incredible it is. I'm not talking about distribution. For that avocado, right, to get to where it's readily available to you, to where, I mean, God forbid if there's an avocado that's gone bad in the bin, which we've never seen before, right? And if you have, how many times have you seen it, right? And if somebody sees a bad avocado in a bin in a supermarket, somebody's probably getting chewed out and it's like, oh my God, like somebody died, right? Think about that for a second. That is insane. That is insane how we have it. So I'm going to talk about the avocado, okay? Now, first thing I checked into is avocados take 3 to 5 years to bear fruit from planting a seed. So if you grew, if you were going to plant an avocado seed, okay, which I guess is the pit, you plant that into the ground, it'll take you anywhere between 3 to 5 years before that tree starts bearing fruit. Okay? So right off the bat, it's not anybody just springing up saying, I'm gonna have an avocado farm, or if you have an avocado business, you know, and you gotta have like a 7-year plan, you're gonna get zero return for like 5 years at least. Imagine that. How difficult it would be to have, I don't know what you call it, a avocado garden, right? It'd be super difficult. All right. Now the next thing I looked up was how long do avocados last? Avocados last approximately 4 to 5 days on the counter. Now, when you go to the grocery store, the avocados, they're in a bin. They're basically on the counter. They're not in the refrigerator, although I did read some people were able to refrigerate them, and some say that they may last 2 weeks, which I don't really know about that because I usually keep my avocados out. All right. 4 to 5 days. Okay, that's how long these avocados last from the point in time that you generally buy them. All right, avocados can take up to 8 months from harvest to bloom. So that means after that 3 to 5 years, if your avocado trees, you know, it's starting to harvest, you know what I'm saying, or I don't know the proper term, bloom avocados or whatever. Okay. Each time you take them avocados down from there, it's going to take another 8 months. All right. So we're talking about once a year operation. All right. So imagine the timing of, let's say, people who pick avocados and have like an avocado business, right? They're going to have to stagger, you know, which avocados they pick, along with have specific planning for how much avocados they can yield in a specific section, you know, for, you know, 8 months, because it's going to be once a year. Okay. So you can't render like, you know what I'm saying, just one yield per year. That's not going to work if you had an avocado business, right? So it takes 8 months. All right. It says from harvest to bloom. That's after your 3 to 5 years. Let's say you already have like some avocado garden. It's going to take you 8 months. in between those sections. Okay, so 8 months from harvest to bloom. After avocados are picked, they can take 7 to 21 days to ripen to become soft enough to consume. All right. So after you pick the avocados, all right, it's going to take about 3 weeks for these avocados to be in sellable range. Okay. So there's a lot of timing that would have to go into selling avocados or even marketing avocados, because it's going to be on a time-based situation. All right. Considering Walmart and most grocers restock on a daily basis, how many avocados generally get stocked to keep customers happy and a plentiful supply? That's what I would ask myself, because it seems like the timing would be crazy for these avocados. Okay. In 2022, okay, the U.S. purchased 1,133,763 metric tons of avocados. Okay. Which was purchased for approximately $3.27 billion. All right. We get most of our avocados from Mexico. All right. So basically, that large number of metric ton of avocados, that's 2 billion, 2.5 billion pounds. Okay. We just round it up. That's 2.5 billion pounds. Hang on. 2.5. I had to check the numbers because that's just so staggering. 2.5 billion pounds in avocados per year, approximately. Okay. An avocado weighs approximately half a pound in general, right? So that's basically, if you divide that number in half, which would be the weight of an avocado, okay, that is we'll just say 1.3 billion avocados per year. All right. And if you divide that between their 63,328 supermarkets and grocery businesses in the United States. Okay. So if you divide, basically, I'm rounding up, okay, from the actual number. So the figures won't match exactly if you do the math on your side, but it's we'll just say 1.3, okay, billion avocados divided between 63,328 supermarkets. That's 19,735 avocados per grocery store per year. Now let's divide that number by 12 months, since avocados sell year round. And that gives you 1,645 avocados per month at grocery retailers if the avocados are evenly distributed, not including military bases, which is not what I'm doing here for this. But most military bases generally, I don't know how often they have taco night or whatever, but for the most part, they're not going to have, I would presume, many avocados except for maybe at commissary. Okay. But that's still, okay, 1,645 avocados per month per grocery store at the 63,300 some odd grocery stores in the United States. That is a lot of avocados per store for a month. Now, how many people do you think are buying them avocados? Okay. So if you take 1,645 avocados in a month and you divide it by 4 weeks, that equals 411 avocados per week. Okay? That's 59 avocados per day that are needed to be stocked at every grocery store in the United States. Okay? here's the thing. Do you think that 59 avocados are sold at each store on a daily basis? Every store, not just one store. I'm talking about every store in the United States. Would you think on a daily basis that 59 avocados are sold every day? That would be pretty instant. I mean, when you think about 63,300 something odd stores, 59 avocados being sold on a daily basis nationwide, that's a lot of avocados. If people are really buying those avocados, all of them, all 59. Okay? Considering the immigration issue in New York, and the fact avocados only last 4 to 5 days, could grocers potentially donate their excess avocados after 4 to 5 days to New York for the homeless, given the immigration situation, the immigration crisis that New York is having? This is just one item of produce. My theory is this. Grocery stores are not selling 1,645 avocados per month. Nor is every grocery store, like let's say individuals in Montana probably barely buy avocados, right? But they have them available to them every single day, right? Now places like Southern California, Texas, that's like near El Paso, what have you, they may sell more avocados because you got more Santa Fe situations going on there. You got more, you know what I'm saying? You might have more Hispanic families and what have you, where the avocado might be more of a staple in their diet. You know, pertaining to what they eat, carne asada, tacos, things of this nature. You know what I'm saying? That would be more likely. And the weather and, you know, the style of living and everything like that. You know, New York might sell more avocados, you know what I'm saying, than a place like Iowa or Montana or like where I live in Missouri. You know what I'm saying? So from a day-to-day basis, there should be an excess amount of avocados, okay, where they would be able to donate. I mean, because even if an avocado starts to go bad, it's not completely bad. And you might have some that are particularly okay or good, okay, that maybe can be shipped to New York for those immigrants to have. And who knows, maybe somebody could use it as a tax write-off, you know, for donations. Just something to think about, because they only last 4 to 5 days. This is hypothetically saying that the shelf life of an avocado in a grocery store is the same as the shelf life of an avocado inside of your home, which we know, based on looking at it, it cannot be possible with that volume of avocados coming into the country. Okay? So, continuing on, how many avocados go bad in the grocery store and how often are they rotated? Well, we would know that they would have to be rotated on a daily basis, right? Because Walmart, I know, stocks every day. Another grocery store, Price Chopper, Hy-Vee. If you've heard of these grocery outlets, I've shopped there. Grocery stores, I've shopped there, and I did night stock. We stocked every night. Okay, I didn't do the produce. Somebody else did that. They did that in the mornings, every morning. Okay, but how many avocados would you say go bad in a grocery store? Do you think avocados go bad in grocery stores? Considering the shelf life, I mean, how long can these avocados last? They got to be super crazy avocados. Okay? Which in case that by the time you buy the avocado and you take that avocado to your house, you're on a time limit. I mean, I've had many avocados go bad on me, you know, but in just 4 days. And I'm thinking, why did I get that many avocados? I surely thought I was going to eat that much. Even when I turned it into dip or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It was a short time limit. Like, I had to be pretty much devoted to devouring the avocados, you know, if I purchased them. That's what I was eating. I was eating straight up avocado. You know what I'm saying? Because if you mix it up with other meals and things like that, the avocado, you're going to end up waiting too long. It's going to go bad. right? Don't take that long. Okay, so if we continue on, just questioning how often are they rotated, because they would have to be rotated to make sure that they all stay fresh, right? Given the fact that they only have a 4 to 5 day shelf life once they reach the store. Are they rotated on a daily basis? Since produce is stocked daily, we would assume so, right? And are avocados taken out as they are examined as being totally bad or starting to turn? So that means when the produce person comes by, do they look at the avocados and say, okay, this looks like it's starting to go bad, I'm going to take it out of this bin, meaning it's not gone completely bad yet? Or do they wait and they go through it in the morning and they say, okay, man, this avocado is done, like it's spoiled or whatever, it's not right, okay, I'm gonna take it out? The reason why I ask that is because if they grab the avocados when it's starting to turn bad, then there may be more of a potential to maybe donate some of those food products for a tax write-off, maybe to the city. You know what I'm saying? This is just avocados, because given the fact I'm looking at how long they last, given the fact it's a perishable food, and the fact that it has to be rotated on a daily basis, you know, in order to keep the fresh avocados in stock. You know, you got to put the fresh ones at the bottom, and you got to move the ones that's been around, you know, maybe a day or two, they got to move closer to the top, right? So that people pick the ripest ones first, right? So, continuing on, isn't it interesting? All of our produce is exquisitely fresh, ready to buy at the grocery store. Nothing ever being bad truly in the bins. You never really see bad produce in the grocery stores. All right? You never see that. Okay? Everything's exceedingly marketable inside of a grocery store. Would you say grocery stores somehow manage a better shelf life for their produce than your personal home? Would you say that avocados would last longer in the grocery store than they would at your personal home? In other words, it seems like after you buy the produce, it goes bad in your home. But you could almost swear that if you left that produce inside the grocery store, that produce would still be on the shelf ready to sell. Okay? And I'm not sure if anybody, some produce has expiration dates, but a lot of it I don't think really does. So it's just like, what does that mean? It's like magic or something. Like the minute you buy it and you take it off the lot, just like a car, man, it starts to lose value, right? That plant starts to wilt, that avocado starts to age, that banana keeps ripening, the amount that a banana ripens just in the course of a day. You know, does the produce last longer in grocery stores? Given the fact of how exquisite the produce looks when you walk into the superstore, all that fruit and vegetables look great. All of it. You can't tell which produce was stocked that morning from the produce that was stocked yesterday, or the produce that was stocked the day before that, or the produce that was stocked 4 days before that. You wouldn't be able to tell because it all looks good. But in your home, right, you just take one of those out at random, right? It could have been stocked that morning. We don't really know, but the shelf life is interesting at your house, right? You never think to yourself, boy, it seems like I just bought this produce, it's already turning. Something to think about. It's something I could be a little bit on the fringe here. I could be in that fringe conspiracy theory field, right? Maybe I shouldn't be thinking that way, but I mean, I kind of feel like in order for a grocery store to make money, these perishable items in the produce section would have to hypothetically last longer, okay, than people buying them by chance. And avocados is one of those things that's common, but it's not. You know, it's not like the onion. You know the onion is going to get picked up. Okay? You know potatoes is going to get picked up. You know bananas is going to get picked up. And avocado is one of those things that's it's almost kind of niche also. It's popular, but it's niche. It's not so common to be picked up as like an onion or a tomato. You know what I'm saying? So it's something to think about. You know, whether produce lasts longer in grocery stores. All right? And how much would you be willing to spend to cause your produce at home to last longer? Given there was some technology or preserver for your produce, would you invest money in any type of technology, any type of I don't know, Ziploc bag or sealer that will cause your produce to last much longer inside of your house, so that you can maybe save money? You know what I'm saying? It's something to think about, because how are stores making this money? See, I look at the gaps, the unseen part, because I try to figure out how do you guarantee that money to pay your employees and all that with a large section of produce. These are not processed foods that are in bags and what have you. You could lose a lot of money. That's a money market if you're constantly losing produce all the time, right? If it's constantly going bad, and it leads you to wonder, you know, maybe it's not a regular avocado. Maybe this avocado was in a science lab, in a laboratory. Maybe it's GMO, and GMOs last longer. You know, I'm not knocking anything. I'm just saying maybe some fruits and produce last much longer than other fruits. Okay? If an avocado lasts only 5 days from the point of purchase, at what point are avocados perfectly loaded into grocery bins to be bought? Okay? So, the point that they're perfectly loaded into grocery bins to be bought, we would say would have to be after the 3-week period of which they were picked from the tree. Because at that point in time, the avocado is ripened, and that's the point of sale to whenever that avocado expires. All right, so about 21 days after that joint was picked, by the time you see it, where every time you see an avocado that is presented to you, it's been at least 21 days since it's been picked, and within a window of 5 days, where you have perfect avocados that you see every time you go to the grocery store. Okay? And how many avocados are sold on a daily basis? This is an interesting question, because if we keep replenishing and supplying our country year by year by this many avocados, or by these avocados, and to avoid these avocados or food waste or these things to be perished, right? We would need to have some type of understanding of the demographic and the customers in the area. You know, how much, you know, what ethnicity are they? What's their diet like? Think about these salespeople that come out with trends. They know your psychology better than the CIA. Okay? They would need to have all this information to understand how many avocados to buy and to replenish the store without, you know what I'm saying, cutting away from that bottom line or whatever, where they're going to lose money. This is exceedingly, you know, mathematical, you know, I would say beyond, you know, possibly, you know, unless someone is gifted, human capacity. And if it's automated pertaining to technology, we can track how many avocados are sold with the scanner, right? But you can't guarantee how long avocados will last. So it would be difficult even for a machine to track that, to have a bin full of avocados anytime you go to the grocery store, whether it's the middle of the day, late at night, any day of the week, at any time, seeing all fresh avocados ready to be purchased, ready to eat. So would you say it is equitative between Walmart in California and Kroger's in Texas that they will both sell 59 avocados in that day? A store in California and a store in Texas. Okay, so for this question, that might be possible given the demographic and the ethnicity, the amount of Hispanics that are in California, the amount of Hispanics that are in Texas. You know what I'm saying? Given dietary needs pertaining to what are staple foods, given that certain demographics eat according to tradition, what they grew up on, how they've been raised. This is not me being racial or anything, but this is people have to. In order to understand this avocado thing, you will have to understand all of these things. Because typically, as a black dude, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna have tacos sometime, and yeah, I love tacos and I love, you know, Hispanic foods, okay? But I do not eat them as a staple every day. It's not like my traditional thing. My traditional thing is gonna be more like, you know what I'm saying, chicken. 1000%. Now that's not, we wouldn't think that to be racial, right? But you would have to have, to some degree, you would have to have some type of qualifiable basis of whether that be stereotype or not pertaining to marketing and dietary needs of your audience if you're supplying them with foods to last them throughout the week. All right. So either through the scanner that they scan the bins with, they're tracking the avocados, therefore understanding an average mean of how many avocados customers typically buy through the week. And to top that off, when you buy avocados, let's say if 59 avocados did sell, there's not only going to be, when you look at a typical avocado bin, it's not only 59 avocados in there. It's generally, you know, way more than that. You know what I'm saying? So that's almost like a guarantee for a certain amount of perishable products just for the store to look marketable, full, and presentable. Because that's the thing in grocery stores, is that the store always looks stocked and full. So there's always going to be some margin of perishable goods starting to go bad. You would think, but you never see it in the grocery store. If you do, it's very rare. Okay, so this avocado thing is interesting. Okay, so it is possible that in California, a Walmart in California and a Kroger's, I don't know where Kroger's are located at, but hypothetically a Kroger's, I'm just choosing a different store name, in Texas, could sell 59 avocados at two individual stores. Okay, remember the 59 number is nationwide. Every single store would have to sell 59 avocados on a daily basis without fail in order for us to recoup all of that money, except for the fact that when we purchase these goods, we purchase these goods wholesale. That's the only saving grace. So wholesale is the way to save money when it comes to buying things in the grocery store. It really is. For anybody out there, it would be worth it to get a Costco membership, Sam's Club, or any warehouse where you could buy in bulk. That was kind of a trick question, given the demographic that I picked out. California and Texas is going to have a larger margin of Hispanics in the area. And this is, and I'm just point this out to show people, hey man, information is information. It's not for anybody that's sensitive. It's not me being racial, but when you get down to money and trying to guarantee sales, because you have a bottom line, you have customers, and you got employees that you all have to take care of. Okay, you're going to have to do a certain amount of tracking, no different than a hunter, to figure out how do you provide for the needs to keep that store afloat. You know, you don't want to buy too many avocados for your store, you know, because that's going to cut away from your profit. But between a Walmart superstore in California and let's say an Apple Market in Missouri, you know what I'm saying? The amount of avocado, that Apple Market is not going to sell 59 avocados on a daily basis as maybe a Walmart in Southern California. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm just looking at this monstrosity, this large number of avocados that come into the country, and saying, how do we recoup that money, and how much of that money is lost in buying avocados? Granted, we buy it wholesale, we wouldn't be making stupid decisions, right? But how can some of that perishable items be mitigated to get it to maybe underprivileged families or people who need food? You know, rather than lose the money altogether, are we just throwing all of that money straight into the trash can? That goes into salaries and wages at all places, whether someone gets a raise or not. You know, that's money that's being moved around. So, continue on that between Kroger's and Walmart in different geographic locations with demographics, mentalities, and lifestyles, that at just 2 stores, approximately 59 avocados need to be purchased, you know, for the overall total sum of the country. Keep in mind, there's 63,300 something odd supermarkets and grocery stores in the United States. There are 59 avocados on a daily basis without fail need to be sold at every last one of them, or at least balance out by the end of the week, you know, to approximately 411 avocados. Okay. If you believe this, I'm saying this is because you believe the demographics pertaining to ethnicity is similar between California and Texas, or more so, the density in the population. Okay, meaning more people, more food needs to be sold. Okay, more variety. Okay, so I'm asking you again, do you believe there are more than 59 avocados in each grocery bin and every produce section per day across 63,000 odd stores nationwide? Well, there will have to be. There generally will have to be. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, they're gonna have 60 avocados. Humble. Maybe there's some grocery stores that only have 60 avocados. That's still a lot of avocados. You know what I'm saying? But they're gonna have at least 59, right? They will have to. So I think that's interesting. How many avocados do you believe go bad on a daily basis? And how much money is being thrown out due to perishables per day at each grocery store? Whether it's avocado, celery, lettuce, whatever it is, produce, how much of that do you think goes bad on a daily basis that they throw out? And how much of that, and I understand grocery stores got to make their money, and by the time something go bad, they got to throw it out. And if it hasn't gone bad, that they need to sell it. But I'm just saying, pertaining to waste management, how much of that can be utilized maybe to get to individuals? Okay, might not have the guarantee on there. Okay, maybe get donated to the city or go to underprivileged families. That might be a thing. Okay, because the grocery stores, I know one thing about working from there, they're very hectic. They want the freshest and the bestest produce to look up front. I mean, if the fruit or the vegetable don't look perfect, they don't even stock it. They won't even stock it. They're like that. And I appreciate it when I go into the supermarket. I'm going to be honest with you. It's incredible. Okay? So I'm asking, have you ever seen bad avocados in a grocery produce section in the United States? You might have found some avocados that you might not particularly buy, but generally you don't see that. Even if you catch maybe one or something like that, you don't see that many of them going bad. It ain't by the numbers, considering that they last 4 to 5 days after that 21 days that they've been from when they've been picked. You're talking about a window in time where you have so many avocados you can't purchase all of them readily available anywhere. Year round, countrywide. That's badass, dude. You understand? That's wild. Okay? So isn't that miraculous at least? And if it's not miraculous, isn't it at least interesting? And you also got to consider distribution and timing as well. But I'm not going to get into that. Okay? And if you have seen bad avocados, you know what I'm saying, in a grocery bin, you know, how many did you find at that single time? How many did you naturally come across in that grocery bin? Because those produce guys in the morning at the grocery store, hey man, they're like the military. They do not F around. You put some bad produce up once, you could lose your job. They're serious about that. They do not play. Okay? Okay, so would it be illogical for me to assume that produce does not go bad in grocery stores as it does in your home? I'm not saying altogether. I'm just saying that they have much more of a shelf life somehow in the grocery store. Would that be illogical? I'm just asking. I don't know the answer. But I'm just thinking here. My wheels is turning. And would that be due to technology in the grocery store, or is there something bad about your living conditions, such as potentially smog or air quality, that prohibits you to keep fresh produce as long as your local supermarket or grocery store? They might have a magnetic field around that store. You don't even know. You know, science is crazy like that. But it's something to think about. Maybe save you a little extra change in your pocket. Because if the grocery store has to understand the windows and timings of these things, we have to be more conscious as consumers to do the same thing. Okay? Preparing our meals and what we eat and the whole nine. All right? So could it also be technology that motivates you to continue to purchase, as food tends to have a shorter shelf life at your home? So I'm saying, if there was a technology that you could buy to make that food last longer, how much money, you know what I'm saying? Just think to yourself, how much money would you be willing to spend on that? Even if it was really expensive, you know, how much money would you save? Would you be able to recoup on what you spent on that technology in order to keep produce fresher at your house for a longer period of time? Okay? Because if you live alone, it might take you a little bit longer to get around to eating, you know, your leftovers and all of that. You want to switch it up every now and again. Something to think about, you know. And I want to ask, if this whole situation of perishable items and the difference in shelf life between grocery stores and your home, is that a manufactured consent problem? You know, if you're not familiar with Noam Chomsky, he talks about manufacturing. He got a documentary called Manufactured Consent. Basically, it breaks down to this: problem, reaction, solution. All right. First, the problem is presented. The people react to that problem. They go into outrage or whatever, and then a solution is provided for them. Okay, meaning the solution here would maybe be, if there is hypothetically a technology you could buy that, or the United States purchase more or less avocados, or the whole idea is for the minute you to purchase that produce, that when you leave that grocery store and you bring it into your house, that when that fruit or that vegetable starts to break down in a shorter period of time than it would have in the grocery store, it's to keep you dependent on the grocery store as people on medicine. You know, that keeps a constant flow of money and controls the frequency in which that money and that customer comes into that grocery store to make a purchase in order to reach that bottom line. You see, it's difficult when we go into these jobs and we have medical insurance and we have all of these other things, okay, all these other different luxuries, okay, as an employee, it's difficult to have all that. And these companies, no matter how you feel about it, they take care of a lot of families. Okay? So this is something to think about. You know, we got to start thinking more and stop taking things for granted as much. I recognize how incredible and miraculous this world is and how blessed we are in the things that we have. You know, now that if you're American and you're blessed to be in this country and to have this luxury of lifestyle, that when a problem presents itself in terms of the country or whatever, that you just don't start going against the country that has taken care of you, right? It's time to start thinking. We got to do better as people, as a whole, worldwide, but even nationwide. We have to do a lot better as people, right? To start thinking and start sharing our ideas to figure out how we can all make it and continue to enjoy the things that we have. We can't have the mentality that we just take, right? Because if we don't take care of the blessings and the things that we have, it's only a matter of time before we won't have them. And there will be nothing left but complaints. Peace and blessings be with you all. I'm out.